Yo, welcome to Comic Book Corner. What's up, man? What's up, Mike? How you doing? Michael Lee is on the chat. Welcome to Comic Book Corner. It is 9/20/25, Saturday on the west coast of California in the San Fernando Valley. 818, doing great and never fake. Welcome to Comic Book Corner. I am your host, OMD300, aka Doc Savage, the man of bronze. Thank you for being here. This is Comic Book Corner, where we talk about nothing but comic book films, comic books themselves, sci-fi, fantasy, and everything else under the sun. Yeah, that's right, your boy. He might be a little rough around the edges, but he's been reading comic books since he was about 8, 9 years old. I'm not into it as much as I used to be. I do have some stuff. I would show you my collection. I have some real cool books. A lot of them have been given to me over the course of the last couple of years since I got into it a little bit more. But thank you for being here. Got a lot to talk about. A lot. First off, we're going to go into the Marvel film lineup for the next few months to the next couple of years. I haven't checked out DC's lineup, and I'll probably do that next episode. Also, we got some great news about comic book creators. What's up, Miss T. Murd? How you doing? Shout out to Paris, France. Paris, France is in the building. Let's get it. We are very happy that you are here. Thank you for being here. But let's go ahead and listen to what's going to be the next few projects in the Marvel universe. At least the next films. I had that? Oh, hold on. Yeah, the next few projects coming up in the Marvel film lineup. Check this out.
All right, guys, here's every single Marvel project releasing in the next few years. First, on August 6, 2025, we have Eyes of Wakanda, which is an animated series about Wakanda. Then in December 2025, we're getting Wonder Man. This is a Disney Plus show about an actor and scientist that turns into a superhero. Then in 2026, we're getting the Punisher series. And on March 2026, we're getting Daredevil Born Again Season 2. Then on July 31st, 2026, we're getting Spider-Man Brand New Day. And I need this movie right now. You already know Spider-Man is my favorite hero of all time, and I just cannot wait for this movie. Then on December 18th, 2026, we're getting Avengers Doomsday. Now, after watching Fantastic Four, I am so excited for this movie. You guys know why. And in 2026, we're also supposed to be getting Vision Quest, which is a Disney Plus series about White Vision, and honestly, I cannot wait to see it. And then in December 2027, we're getting Avengers Secret Wars, which is probably going to be the craziest Avengers movie we've ever seen. Now, those are all the confirmed ones so far, but let's go through all the ones. Apparently, we might be getting World War Hulk, Black Panther 3, a Young Avengers movie, an X-Men film, a Magneto Disney Plus show, Nova Disney Plus show, Weapon X Disney Plus show, a Storm Disney Plus show. Apparently, we might get a solo Wolverine film, a Scarlet Witch film, which would be absolutely awesome. And then all this will lead up to Avengers Eternity War. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but I'm excited for the future of Marvel. Let me know in the comments below which movie you want to see.
Yeah, that was reported by Matt Cracks, MATCRACKZ, about all of the stuff that's coming up on the Marvel franchise from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The one probably that I'm more inclined to be excited for will probably be the Nova series. I'm a big fan of Nova. If you don't know who Nova is, if you watch the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, in the first film, the bad guy was trying to destroy a planet called Nova Prime. Nova Prime is a planet similar to Earth that has humanoid-like beings that are kin to Earthlings, and they have a super hero-styled protector of the planet. And basically, the film was the Guardians of the Galaxy film was pretty much accurate in the sense of after the villain in that movie tried to destroy them, and the Guardians helped defeat him. Nova Prime, the planet, decided they needed a protector. They needed to create a protector or one among them who they can endow with the power of the Nova. And they found the guys. And that's pretty much probably where they're going to go with the show. They're probably going to be right after. What's up, Marcus Burks? What's up, man? Welcome to Corner Store Comic Book Corner, man. We just talking about some of the latest comic book news and films and all of that. Come join the party. Yeah, that Nova series on Disney Plus. I'm not really fond of any of the Disney outlets and nothing like that. But since I'm a fan of that particular genre, once the Nova series comes about, I'm going to be real happy to check that out. And hopefully they don't fuck it up. Please don't fuck it up, because a lot of these film companies are known to do that. I haven't talked about any DC stuff today, but with all the stuff that's coming up, man, like World War Hulk, people don't realize what that's all about. Hulk took on every hero known to man during that series, or during that series of comic books. This is around the time when Earth was almost at its nexus as far as humanity. There is a series of comic books where Hulk gets old and gets what does he call himself? The Maestro. That's his alter ego. Once all humans are gone from Earth, Hulk can't die, and he don't want to change back into Bruce Banner. So he stays Hulk, and he becomes the leader of the world, and they call him the Maestro. But the World War Hulk series is when Hulk left. It was almost kind of told. They almost fucking told the story in Thor Ragnarok. That was very similar. After Hulk was in that battle, and he was in the ship, and he just kept going. And next thing you know, he hit a wormhole and ended up on the War World. That's they almost kind of snuck in World War Hulk there, but they didn't go for it. They could have. But yeah, if you notice, if you watch that Thor Ragnarok, when he talked to Hulk, he asked Hulk, why don't you want to come back to Earth? They treat me like a monster there. They don't like me there. And that's the reason why Hulk was on that war planet. Hulk ended up defeating the emperor of that planet. And if they do this movie right, hopefully they'll follow the same storyline I'm talking about. And he also takes a wife, and that wife used to be the imperial or the personal guard of that emperor of that planet. And he ends up having sons and everything. And some kind of way, the reason why Hulk came back to Earth, and when he came back to Earth, some way his family died. If you can find those issues at a comic book store or even online, this is the reason why he became the Maestro and wanted to destroy all humanity, because he lost his family. He lost his faith in humanity, and he thought humanity deserved to die, which they ended up killing themselves through nuclear war. And obviously, nuclear war would not affect the Hulk, since, he's indestructible. So it's crazy stories. But that's some of the latest stuff from Wonder Man. Wonder Man, the guy who played Aquaman in not the Aquaman, Black Manta in the Aquaman series of films in the DC universe, is going to be Wonder Man. Now, I don't have a problem with that. I believe Wonder Man is a black character, but I remember Wonder Man being on the Defenders and also the Avengers, and he was a white guy. And if you notice, they're starting to change. I don't think it's a bad thing to change Nick Fury from a white dude to a black dude, Sam Jackson. I thought it was kind of cool. But I believe Wonder Man was originally Caucasian, and then they changed him as time went on to a black guy. And his powers are pretty incredible. The Punisher series should be very interesting. Now, the Eyes of Wakanda animated series, not really big on that. I'm not really the next Black Panther film I am big on, because I want to find out who's going to be the next Black Panther. Is it going to be Dadris whatever that kid's name from Snowfall, Dadris Ismus or something? I can't think of his name. They were hinting that he was going to be the next Black Panther. They was also hinting that the guy from Star Wars, the the new Star Wars films with Daisy Ridley. I forget this kid's name. Daniel Boyega. They were saying he was maybe the new Black Panther. So that's still up in the air. I'm still wondering if they're going to even do the Mahershala Ali revamp of the Blade series. They keep pulling that. They say it's going to be around, then they say it's not. They said Wesley Snipes might return, then they pull that. So I think the Blade, the actual character that saved Marvel, the comics company and the film company, the dude who did that, the character that did that, it looks like he may never get another chance to be in a film, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. I really do. And aside from that, the Avengers Doom, which I don't believe is doomed to fail. The reason why I know they brought back Robert Downey Jr. and him not being Iron Man and now he's Doctor Doom, he went from a good guy to a villain. So I believe they're trying to capitalize on all of the popularity, and people really love Robert Downey. Him becoming Tony Stark revamped his career. He's become several times a millionaire because of that role, and his popularity is through the roof because of the last film that he was in when he did the snap and he died and his character was gone. They're going to pull that. They're going to try to pull a rabbit out of the hat by bringing him back, as well as Chris Evans. Chris Evans is reprising his role as Captain America in this new series of films where they're going to find out it's some kind of a time displacement type deal, or they're still on this kick of parallel universes where there are different versions of each person. In one universe, Tony Stark is Iron Man. In another universe, he's from Latvia and he's Doctor Doom. So it's going to be interesting. This is the rewrite and the rescramble after the young man who was playing Kang the Conqueror subsequently got accused of sexual assault and battery, and they summarily fired him without even having an outcome of a trial. That's one thing these companies will do. You got to be squeaky clean. They will distance themselves from you if they just put it this way: the new kid that they've chosen to be Superman in the DC universe, if something comes out about him, chances are they'll try to sweep it under the rug versus the brother who was playing Kang. I'm going to say that right now. But if something happened to him and it got public, they would summarily fire the guy and replace him with another Superman. That's just how things go. And hopefully they would give him the justice to let the due process play out so they can find out if he's worth firing. Just because people get bad press or something like that, you shouldn't automatically say we got to change that person. People make mistakes. People who go to the movies realize this. As long as there's nothing really super egregious, if you want a person to play Superman, you can't expect them to actually be like Superman as far as their real life. It's a fucking movie. Things are gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? So having to scrap Kang the Conqueror as the nemesis in these next series of Marvel films really, really is really sad and disappointing, because I thought they were heading somewhere with this. The guy, Jonathan Majors, is an absolutely amazing actor, and I believe he was pulling that part off just on confidence in himself as an actor, becoming the character and his charisma. You saw it in the first time we saw him as Kang in the Loki series on Disney Plus. Bro was really doing his thing. And I saw, and as well as the last Ant-Man movie, which wasn't really that great, but the thing that saved that movie was the performance by Jonathan Majors, which was really, helping people feel like Marvel was still going to be, producing a great product. When that thing happened with him personally, which summarily got him, fired, and that whole series and that line of where the direction of Marvel was going. And so you can't put, that's another thing, Marvel, DC, whoever else, cinematic unit, comic books sent to cinematic universe, whoever else is going to try that, whether it be Dark Horse or any of these new fledgling comic companies, you got to realize something. When you invest in these people, you got to understand that there may be some things that happen in real life that might affect the bottom line as far as people, how they feel about the person you chose to be a character. And you got to be able to take that on the chin and tell your PR people to go ahead and say, look, this person had something going on, something happened, and we still believe they are Batman or whoever the hell you chose them to be, and we back them. And I believe if you do something, if you have enough balls to do that, people will take that under consideration and say, you know what, that was cool of them to back them under these circumstances. I'm still going to watch the movie, because people have to be able to summarize between film and real life. I don't like Clint Eastwood in real life is not a great guy. He's a Republican, and that doesn't, him being a Republican doesn't mean he's a bad guy. It's just the choices he's made and some of the things he said. It's all that same bullshit rhetoric. But that doesn't change the way I feel about him in the movies. I'm sorry. I ain't gonna hate him because I ain't gonna hate his movies because of who he is. Same thing with John Wayne. John Wayne was a bitch in real life. Movie's great though. You watch a John Wayne film, you really be like, look at old dude, big ass. You know what I'm saying? So the same thing can be said about these people we choose to be heroes. But Henry Cavill should still be Superman right now. He should. He played the fuck out of that part. There was nobody else, except for these little goombas that played the little parts on the TV shows, Lois and Clark and the Super. I actually like the latest Superman who was on TV. I forget the name of the show, but he was pretty good. You know what I'm saying? Henry Cavill is Superman, point blank. Now, I will say this because this show is about comic book lore, sci-fi. I'm into Star Wars. I love that shit too. Lucas came up with an incredible world when he created Star Wars. He did. It's unique. The scientific part of it is crazy. There are books that you can go to the comic book hobby store or whatever that will show you how an X-wing fighter is supposed to work. There's a diagram showing you all of this stuff, like this shit is real. So in other words, it's very intense. It's very thought out. The world they create, they want you to feel like this shit could possibly be real. All the time it's all bullshit, but theoretically, they're saying, this is what's going on in that galaxy, and there's stormtroopers and robots that hunt people and and Jedis in the Force. That shit is cool to come up with shit like that. It's just stories. And if you can captivate an audience back in 1977 so much to where people will stand in line, which I did for 6-7 hours, 4 to 5 to 6, 7 hours to get a ticket, then stand in line again just to get in and get a seat to see the shit. That tells you something about the ideas and what they created. Same thing could be said about Star Wars, Star Trek even. I got to give it to him, James T. Kirk. Even though Gene Roddenberry was kind of kooky, you got to give it to him. These guys have incredible imaginations. They do. But check this out. This right here is going to freak you out because I didn't know this. And it's new. You can go and get this for yourself. It's new. Check this out. And it is a Black comic book creator.
Recently, on August 12th, a Black created and owned graphic novel by the name of The Adventures of Lion Man was released. Lion Man's first comic issue arrived in 1947, making him one of the first Black superheroes to be published and definitely one of the first to be actually created by a Black person. And it was published in the first and only issue of all Negro comics, widely considered as the first cartoon magazine to be entirely made by Black creators. This new compilation comic for Lion Man will have the original story with 3 brand new stories by, again, Black creators once more. This has been Doc with Nerd News. Recently, on August 12th.
That was reported by, I forget, what's this dude's name? Something News. I wish I could read his name, but I can't. The Docs Board News, or something like that. This character is supposedly be as old as Superman. It originated back around the time when the first issue Superman, the one where he's holding up the car, the old ass 1940s car smashing on the wall. That was Superman 1 or some shit like that. I think these comics were like 3 cents, 5 cents back then, something like that. But Lion Man is now been reborn. It's on ANC Comics. ANC Comics, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on, let me make sure. Yeah, I think it's ANC
A
Comics.
black created and owned graphic novel.
And it's a lot of black comic book creators out there. I'm going to suggest, even though I've tried to reach out to this guy is from Sacramento, California. I don't know his name, but if I tell you his comic book company, he has some incredible characters. Seraphim, some black Wonder Woman like character he has. His comic book company is called Impound Comics. Impound with an IMP pound. Impound Comics. Dude is doing really well. I'm very proud of the guy. And he's all over TikTok, Impound Comics. He's all over YouTube. And he's a young black comic book creator. And his comics seem to be, I haven't bought any yet. I have, because, you can go online. He's got his own online store. Obviously, if you go to any of his Instagrams or TikToks or any of that, YouTube, he's going to have links to all of that merch as far as his clothes. And the comics are good. Dude is a little arrogant to me, though. Only reason why is like, I understand. If most of my subscribers know, and I've got plenty of subscribers now, thank God, because of you guys. Some of you guys really interact with me back and forth. I've been on video chat with you and all that. So I give a lot of love to the people that are subscribers to me. I do. Because you guys could be doing anything, but you showed up here and you rock with your boy. So the guy from Impound Comics seemed kind of standoffish to me. He does seem kind of standoffish when I was trying to reach out, because I want to start a comic book company. I do. I know it's going to cost. There's a bunch of shit I want to do. I ain't going to sit here in front. There's a lot of things I want to do. Everything takes money these days. You know that. There's no doubt about it. Everything takes money. So, either you guys, and most of the time, if you're going to start a business, you're not starting a business with your own money. You're getting people to invest in the idea. The idea has to be sound when you present it. If you watch Shark Tank, when people come, they say, this is what's going on. This is how much I'm making. This is the product. This is the. Sometimes they come in, they ain't got no sales, but they got a product that they know if they get an investor and they do it right and the PR is set up correct, that it will pop off. All I wanted to learn from dude is what he did to start everything. My comic book company would be called, obviously, Corner Store Comics. Now, what is that not the most perfect name for a comic book company? Where do we used to buy these motherfuckers? I remember the liquor store I used to get my comics from was on Western Avenue and like 39th Street, almost to Exposition. You know what I'm saying? Not Exposition. What was that? Jefferson. You know what I'm saying? And I would go there and the comic books would be right there. Sometimes we even do some weird stuff like have another dude get some candy, some distract dude while we grab some. But I'm sorry to admit that, but we was kids and we ain't always have money on us all the time. So, you know what I'm saying? You want a comic book, you're like, ooh, I want that. You're going to do something weird. I hate to admit that, but hey, it is what it is. But yeah, Impound Comics. If you want to look for that, the dude has his comic book. He has a comic book store in the Sacramento Kings arena where the Sacramento Kings play. He's doing really well. I think he might have a store here in LA somewhere. But like I said, I've tried to reach out to him and try to pick his brain. But he ain't gotta help me, or he ain't gotta answer my he ain't gotta say nothing to me, and I feel him. But it's other creators out there want to collab, bro, and see how it's done and learn from you. You may not even have time or whatever to give advice, but you can at least say, yo, man, it's pretty, this is da 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 da. But if you got Chat GPT, you can ask Chat GPT how to start a comic book company, and it'll lay it all out for you. It'll do that for anything, actually. So the smartest thing is to do what you can do, and keep praying, keep hustling, keep grinding, keep getting more information, and then start your shit. Because the ultimate thing is capital. It's gonna take capital to start it. So just know that off top. Now here's some more stuff that's going on in the world of comic book films and news.
Just when you think we're done getting news and updates about Avengers Doomsday and the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they really said, Doom! You looking for this? Because we just got a whole bunch of insane new updates about Avengers Doomsday, which includes the return of some familiar faces, official confirmation on the MCU X-Men reboot movie, and some crazy details about deleted scenes for the Fantastic. And you know me, if I get a little bit of crumbs, I'm gonna make a 5-star meal. Because either way, me and you know what we gotta do. We gotta talk about it. First things first, rest in peace, Uncle Phil. But for real, according to the main man himself, Jake Schreier, who is the director of Thunderbolts, aka the New Avengers, he's officially begun working on the X-Men MCU reboot movie.
Oh, shit.
And this news comes to us from Empire Magazine, who had an exclusive interview with Jake Schreier. And he actually gave some pretty interesting details about working on the X-Men movie and what he learned from the Thunderbolts film. He mainly talked about how now he's familiar with working in an ensemble and how to
Now, I'm gonna continue that in a second, but let me ask the chat, what did you think of the Thunderbolts movie? What did you think of the Thunderbolts movie? Now, there is a team that was in the comics called the Thunderbolts. Obviously, the Thunderbolts being, that's the nickname of President Ross, or General Ross, the guy who used to be chasing Bruce Banner to try to get the power of the Hulk out of him. Now, Thunderbolt Ross is obviously president in the new MCU movies, and he's also shown him, played by Harrison Ford in the latest Captain America movie. He's also shown himself to be the Red Hulk, having taken a serum that gave him the abilities, just like the Hulk. When he gets angry or upset, he changes into a Red Hulk, which is actually fueled by some kind of atomic energy, hence him getting hot. He gets hot all the time, and he can get so hot to where he can become nuclear. A lot of people don't know that. I don't know if it's the same way in the Marvel films, but it looked like he was getting hot to me. Pause. Not saying no weird. Looks like his juices was flowing, so to speak. Pause. But yeah, what do you guys think of the Thunderbolts movie? When I watched it, I judged it pretty harshly. I thought it was good. I gave it a 7 out of 10, which is not a bad score, but it wasn't great. It was a good watch. I actually went to the theater to see this, so to get that real experience and the movie experience, and it was all right. It could have been better. So that one of those movies like that, you go, I don't know if Marvel gonna continue its run if they're gonna keep making 7s. They gotta make 8s and up. If it's an average 8, 9, or 10, then you in the game. But if it's 7 and down, see, you losing people. That you spending $100 million on some shit that ain't turning out to be the way we want it. Let's continue.
Balance all of that with the action set pieces, but still having emotional, quieter moments. He said he's very excited. There's going to be some surprises, and it's a whole lot of fun. Now, to quickly catch you up to speed, in case you're unfamiliar, this is an entirely new team of X-Men, not the X-Men from the old Fox X-Men franchise who are going to be appearing in Avengers Doomsday, which basically is all of the characters you see here, minus Wolverine, who I think is going to be confirmed one way or another because I don't see how he's not in this movie. But instead, it's the new set of MCU X-Men that's going to take place after the events of Avengers Secret Wars, once the MCU has been soft rebooted. And honestly, I'm all here for the mutant saga, and here's some things I want to see in this movie and for the rest of the saga in general. And the first order of business is trying to figure out who should be on this first initial X-Men roster for the MCU. Thanks to some older reports, we know that they're trying to go a little bit younger and instill some youthfulness into the X-Men. So I'm hoping they go with the original X-Men roster, so Jean Grey, Cyclops, Beast. Please, for the love of God, give us Angel and Iceman a good Bobby. Please put the highlight on how great of a fucking leader and character Cyclops is, man. Scott Summers deserves some fucking respect, as well as Jean
Yeah, I
Grey
think
too.
so.
Let's just skip the Phoenix Saga for a little bit. But other members that need to be on that team. First and foremost, Storm the Queen herself.
For
We
sure.
need her on that roster ASAP. Because not only is she a badass baddie, she's an integral member in the X-Men in my eyes. When I think of the X-Men, I immediately think of Storm. Plus,
Agreed.
you can start building that relationship she's probably going to end up having with T'Challa Jr., which would be nice world building within the context of the MCU by having Wakanda have mutant allies. I mean, she's so bad, she's one of the few people that Doom actually respects. And another member that I need to see is Kitty Pryde. Please give us a faithful Kitty Pryde adaptation. But one character I don't want to see, and I know, at least not for a little while, is the MCU's version of Wolverine. Let him breathe for a little bit. Just let the audience sit here and watch time pass. And what most
Now, I understand what he mean by that. We've had Wolverine overload with Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman was in some Wolverine movies that shouldn't have happened. That Wolverine movie, the standalone one where he ended up in Japan, where they introduced Yuriko. Yuriko ends up being the chick that's got adamantium, and her name is Lady Deathstrike. But they didn't go into that movie. That movie was whack. When he fought the adamantium robot and this old Japanese man that died in World War II or whatever, or it was crazy. They should have left that one out. I don't think that was, but they was trying to capitalize on the popularity of Wolverine at that particular time. And to be honest with you, the first X-Men film that was done by 20th Century Fox, that shit was trash. The casting wasn't good. Halle Berry should never have been Storm. It was only because she was popular. Storm is a 6-foot character. Halle Berry, all a bit of 5'2", 5'3", some shit. I just wasn't a huge fan of the first X-Men material. And so since you're going to reboot it now that the MCU, that the Marvel Cinematic Universe has control over it, I understand why this dude is saying we would have too much Wolverine overload if we saw Wolverine again. But I disagree. I think you have to reboot the character and do it in another way. Bring a new person that's going to play that character, as well as make him Wolverine, make him wild, but give him a whole nother spin. You know what I'm saying? Make him his actual height, which is around 5'10", 5'9". He wasn't a tall. Wolverine is not tall. He acts very much like a super scruffy faced tough guy that don't like a lot of people, but when he do like you, you know what I'm saying? I think Hugh Jackman's character was way too emotional for Wolverine. There's only two sides of Wolverine. Either he cool with you or he want to fucking kill you. And Hugh Jackman and what was it? Wolverine Origins Wolverine, where he was all with this lady and talking about you're my Wolverine in the moon and all. What the fuck are you talking about? This dude getting all emotional because man, get out of here. These are the movies I'm talking about. The standalone Wolverine films, because of Hugh Jackman's popularity, that should have never been made. And if you were gonna make X-Men Wolverine Origins, it shouldn't have been told that way. It shouldn't have been told that way. And it just, those films did all right in the box office. They did okay. You know what I'm saying? But hey, I'm not running the shit. If I was, you better believe it'd be you probably think these decisions seem to be, easy. I know they're not easy, but I also know what I would want. The casting people, we're not casting huge names. We're casting a few people that might. I'll put it to you this way. The guy who plays Jack Reacher now on the series on Amazon Prime, he is Alan Rickman. I think I'm saying Rickman, I think something like that. But he's absolutely fucking perfect to play Jack Reacher. He's perfect. Now, Tom Cruise got a hold of the character first and did 2 horrible films. Sorry, Tom Cruise. I love you. All right with me. You played some dope shit. Mission Impossible, stayed with that. Trying to be Jack Reacher was a mistake because you're not it. I know the book about Jack. I know Jack Reacher's tall, big, muscular dude. You every bit of 5'2", 5'3", and you want to play Jack Reacher. It just didn't make no sense to do that. You could have created a new character and played some kind of detective and did the shit you did in that movie. Jack Reacher, Rickman plays Reacher in his show like Jack Reacher is in the book. So that's what I mean about casting. There are people out there who can play these roles. And there are new comic book heroes you guys could be writing about and making films about. And that to me proves that it's really not about us. It never hasn't been about appeasing the masses. It's been about somebody's bottom line in some weird way. Because if it was about making people like myself want to spend money to go see show, to get Netflix or get Disney Plus or go to the theater to see these movies, you'd make the movies we want to see. You hear it every day. People tell you every day. So I'm going to tell you right here what projects they should be doing in the MCU or the DC cinematic universe. In Marvel, they should be making a show for Disney Plus about a character, a black hero called Night Thrasher. If you don't know what I'm talking about, and all of these can be looked up. Anybody on the chat, anybody in the live that's going, that's listening, that's been here, maybe dip their head back in, or checks this out after the live broadcast and sees it later. Write down these characters because you can go look them up yourself and decide for yourself if they would deserve to have a TV show or something. Night Thrasher is a black hero, street level hero like Daredevil or Batman in the DCEU or CU, I'm sorry. And he's dope as fuck. And I believe they should cast Michael Jai White. He's just at the right age. He's a martial arts expert in films and in real life. He would be perfect to play Night Thrasher. Night Thrasher also was the leader. If you do a Night Thrasher standalone, then you could come up with the Night Thrasher leader of the Defiant Ones. Another street level group that used to fight crime on the street. The Defiant Ones. I'm telling you, go look this shit up. Go look it up. You know what I'm saying? Go look it up. Night Thrasher. Another group from Marvel that could be in a movie. The Canadian super team Alpha Flight. Alpha Flight. The leader of that group is Vindicator. Suit look like almost like the Canadian flag almost. But the dude's got some dope ass powers in that suit. Sonic blast, flight, super strength, dope as fuck. He's got some other, I ain't gonna even tell you the characters that's in the group. You can look that up yourself. You can look up the group Alpha Flight. You can Google that right now. Marvel Comics group Alpha Flight. And it's gonna pop up with the names of the people that's in Alpha Flight. Guess what? Wolverine was a part of Alpha Flight at one time when he was known as Weapon X. Yeah. It's a whole bunch of groups out there. They haven't made a real Defenders show. They made that bullshit Defenders show on Disney Plus with Power Man or Luke Cage, Jennifer Jones, Jessica Jones, I'm sorry, Iron Fist, and I believe Daredevil. That was the Defenders on Disney Plus. That's not the fucking Defenders. Not even close. Go look. Hell, the Black Panther used to be the leader of the Defenders at one time. Yeah. Go look it up. All types of groups that were, there was a comic book series where 5 groups, I think it might have been the X-Men, the Defenders, the Avengers, and the Fantastic Four all clicked up together to stop a world event, like, Thanos type shit, Thanos coming or something. It's a bunch of other groups too that be, man, let me tell you something. Marvel Cinematic Universe don't realize they have trillion upon trillion upon a trillion stories they can put on film. They need to be of one accord. They ain't necessarily got to make all the same content, but if you're going to have this universe, you can't have Craven the Hunter over here and he never meets Spider-Man. It's all got to be relative. If you're going to make Craven, he's got to meet Spider-Man and they got a box. They got to get out. You know what I'm saying? So you can't create these you can't create Halle Berry as Storm. You got to be more specific. For those who don't know, the model Iman, who used to be married to David Bowie, is not only a super model at 6 feet something or 5'11" tall, she's of West African descent, if I'm not mistaken, or at least of African descent. And she's also an actress. Why in the world would you not have chosen her to play Storm? If that ain't Storm, go look up Iman, the actress Iman. If that ain't Storm, I don't know who is. And at the time, Iman was acting just like Halle Berry, but Halle Berry was on fire doing all these little films, from Losing Isaiah and a bunch of other films nominated for an Academy Award, from Jungle Fever, the whole shebang. So her name was ringing, and that's how Hollywood works. Whoever's that darling at the time, they're going to cast that person instead of casting a person who's absolutely perfect for the part. Let's finish up with some of this sound.
It's likely is officially going to be Hugh Jackman Wolverine's final outing in Avengers Secret Wars. It's a tough mantle to take on, so you might as well give it a few years before you try to recast it. And like I said before, I don't want Wolverine to undercut Scott Summers. Please build him up first. And as for the villains of the saga, I would really love to see Nathaniel Essex, aka Mr. Sinister, appear at least in the first movie and have him be an overarching villain similar to like a Loki. Like, just keep him in the background after being the main villain in the first film. I think a logical next step would be introducing the Shi'ar Empire as villains at first, but then, you know, they'll do their own thing after that. It just ties into the cosmic aspect. Plus, I selfishly just want them to introduce Gladiator, because that's my dog for it. One of the most powerful Superman-esque characters in Marvel Comics history.
I agree.
We'll get just a little taste of the Shi'ar Empire and Gladiator, Imperial Guard, and X-Men 97. But I think one of the big bosses that really should not just be the mutants, it should be the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, is Apocalypse. He should be the end game.
Yeah, they fucked up Apocalypse.
Please get him done justice in live action. I'm sorry,
man.
Oscar Isaac. I love you. This was not the role for you. And there was rumors of Marvel wanting The Rock. That shit is not happening, homie, because it doesn't matter which one. I'm not smelling what they're cooking here. But an age of apocalypse for real would be. But moving on over to the Doomsday news, Benedict Cumberbatch was recently asked if he's going to be returning as Doctor Strange in Avengers Doomsday, to which all he had to say was, I wonder. Boy, if you don't get your I'm not the werewolf ass out of here, we know you're in that movie, Doctor Strange. This is the same man who said, I think I'm in that one. Wait, maybe I'm not. Actually, I think I am. Now I'm not again. He over here like Michael Scott. Snip, snap, snip, snap, snip. I think he's definitely going to be a part of that second wave of cast announcements for Doomsday, because how you going to cause an incursion in Multiverse of Madness and not have that play a factor in Doomsday? Especially with the rumor circulating that he could end up being on Doctor Doom's team in Avengers Doomsday. Exactly. Or Doctor Strange 3 could be the film that takes place in between Doomsday and Secret Wars, since we know there's a date there with an untitled Marvel film. And maybe he's not Captain and he's not in Doomsday, but he might end up being in a post-credit scene. Either way, we'll have to wait and see. But this next bit of news is very interesting, because we got Daphne Keane, who's pulling the I'm not the werewolf move. I actually do kind of believe her here. She said she doesn't know if she is or is not in Avengers Doomsday, but the amount of actuallys and literallys in this sentence make me believe that she's...
That's the girl who played X-23, which is Wolverine's daughter, created by DNA. And she has healing factor as well as the Berserker mode, because that's exactly what happens to Wolverine. He goes into a Berserker mode and just wants to kill like a ravenous animal. And she has that as well. So they're not sure she's going to be in any of the new upcoming Secret Wars films. It's a lot going on. It is a lot going on. I'm going to save some of that for next time. But as you can see, the Marvel Universe, as well as the DC Comics universe, they're doing pretty well. They have new issues of Marvel and DC franchises, from Daredevil. There is a new Batman versus Daredevil crossover issue that just came out this month. Go look for that. I'm going to be trying to check that out as well. I might be online grabbing that. Batman versus Daredevil. Now, if you go to my TikTok, Corner Show Television TikTok, I have a video of Batman. It's a fan fan-made video, Batman versus Daredevil. You're gonna love that. You can look for that on my TikTok page. That's a live action short film. It is really, really good. But they do have a new issue of Batman and versus Daredevil crossover comic book that came out this month. Go look for that. Also look for the new Marvel Secret Wars films is coming out. If you haven't seen Fantastic Four, I saw it. I gave it a 7.5. It wasn't that bad. Wasn't that good either. It was really middle of the board, but they got a pretty good score. So it's a good watch if you're not doing nothing on the weekend and you haven't seen it. It's been running for a good while now. So 9 times out of 10, you probably going to be in the theater by yourself or with a small contingent of people. So if you're not doing nothing, you bored, go check out Fantastic Four today, this weekend. But yeah, that's it for me, y'all. I appreciate y'all. And y'all have a great Sunday. Tomorrow, watch some football, enjoy your family, do whatever you got to do. And this has been Comic Book Corner episode with your host, OMD300. I appreciate y'all. It's all one love. And remember, true believers, always use your superpower for good, never evil. It's your boy, OMD. I'm going to holler at y'all. Peace.